I'm Mr. MegaManFan. Like, share, comment, subscribe. You know all the things to do. Today we are looking at RobotWar 2684 on Homebrew Review. And I think you can probably already guess that's a way of saying Robotron 2084 without directly saying it. It's an Atari 2600 version made by Champ Games. Let's just read what the box has to say. In the year 2684, humanity fights for survival against an evil robot menace. Do you have the skill to battle through 256 waves of enemies and save the last human family? Yeah, if it wasn't pretty obvious this was Robotron, you would know it from the fact that it said save the last human family. And the screenshots should give you a pretty good idea of that as well. And unlike screenshots back in the day, these screenshots are actual representations of the game you are going to play. Back in the heyday of Atari 2600, that wasn't necessarily the case. So this is my first time opening the game itself. I took it out of the Atari Age bag that it came in. I bought this through the Atari Age store, but I have yet to look at the cartridge or manual that were inside this box. So this is also an unboxing of sorts, if you will. Put a little bit of a crease in the flap, but that was necessary to get it open. Those things happen. And there's the cartridge itself. Very nice label. Al and the team at Atari Age do good work. Nice that it's in a tray too, so that it keeps it secure and also holds the shape of the box because there's something inside it. It's not just a loose cartridge floating around in a box. You'd be surprised how many homebrews actually come that way. More than I care to say. But yes, got a nice end label, got nice custom artwork, and there should be some instructions in here as well. Yes, actually we've got a poster as well as instructions. I forgot this one came with a poster. Let's take a look at that. Very nice. The same artwork that's used for the label is also part of the poster. Let me see if I can focus that up a little bit. There we go. They didn't have to include a poster as well, but that's a nice touch. And here's a very thick and colorful manual. Again, this is part of the quality that you pay for with an Atari Age release. They don't do black and white manuals or fold up manuals. This is a full color, stapled, fully realized manual. It's not just a square you fold out and read. So everything about this presentation, even the back cover of the instruction manual, is high quality. And the stock they printed this on too, it's a thick glossy paper. It's not flimsy in any way. So okay, I realize not everybody's gonna pay 40, 50, 60 bucks before shipping for a complete in-box Atari 2600 game, but if you're the kind of person who is going to pay that, then you might as well buy it from somebody like Atari Age, who does it right and gives you your money's worth. You get the quality that befits being an Atari collector in this day and age, because there are getting to be fewer and fewer of us who play and appreciate vintage Atari games. But enough jibba jabba, as Mr. T might say. Let's actually get to playing Robotron War 2684 and see how this conversion holds up compared to the arcade original or the many other ports of Robotron that you can play. I'll turn the camera around and we'll get right to it. All right, I think we're good to go here. Let me just zoom this in a little bit. Get a little closer. Hopefully this is not twin stick because I'm not equipped for that if it is. One player, start wave 01. Because if you play Robotron the correct way, you fire with one stick and move with the other. But in this one, it appears you just fire in whatever direction you were moving last. Unless there is a twin stick setup that I'm not aware of. And there might very well be. But any game you can think of, like Smash TV, drew inspiration from this game. They all had to get the idea of an endless wave of enemies from somewhere. And of course the humans, if they get converted into enemies, they come after you, so you don't want that to happen. As you can see there, they get nasty when that happens. And avoiding them becomes a real pain in the butt. And that moves me on to the next wave. And I'm dead. So you get the gist. You have to try to save all the humans, but that is no easy feat, considering how many enemies there are on the screen at any one time. Now, if I had the save key and the Atari box, we would be voice enhanced and I would be able to save the high score, but I have neither of those things, so we just have to play it as is right now. And as you can see, that isn't even beating the default champ high scores, but given it's the first time I played this, on this version anyway, I think that's okay. I suspect it probably does have a twin stick option because champ games is usually pretty good at adding stuff like that. They are one of the top, I would say, homebrew Atari game makers in terms of the quality. Oof, I got a lot of enemies coming at me all at once there. Well, that's really what Robotron is all about, right? Trying to get to the humans with so many things to fight off is no easy feat. Well, slightly better than my last score, but not really that much better. I wonder if I'd actually get a bonus for starting on a higher wave. I don't think so, but you never know. The enemies that chase you down are the worst. It's my own fault. I stepped where I shouldn't have stepped. And that was my own fault too. Getting your timing down with these waves is no easy feat. At least on the first screen, they kind of take it easy on you. Only 2 humans and not that many enemies, but it gets a lot harder very, very quickly. Wow, I survived 2 whole waves without dying. And I spoke too soon. I shouldn't have said anything. That's what I get for getting cocky. And then the deaths just start piling up as soon as I made the mistake of saying anything at all. See if I can actually get to a 4th wave. Nope. Well, that was better than my previous high scores, but still not very good. You know, I'm gonna just go ahead and call this a really good version of Robotron. I have no complaints here. You know how it is with Atari games. Sometimes they can be flickery or look nothing like the game they're supposed to be like. Neither of those things is true here. Champ Games did an excellent job of recreating the Robotron experience. I feel like this is a very faithful adaptation, down to how frantic it is, how hard it is to survive. I'd like to get to a 4th wave just once. But that won't be this round. Still my best score yet, but also still not that good. Let's give it one more go. I assume you could probably play this in Stella on an emulator if the ROM is out there, but I would also say if you do that and like it, you should go ahead and buy it from Atari Age so that Champ Games gets what they deserve for the amount of effort that had to have gone into coding an authentic looking and feeling Robotron within the limitations of the Atari VCS hardware. Because by the standards of what we consider even traditional video game consoles, it's very low powered, underpowered. There's not a lot to work with. The term racing the beam comes to mind because you literally have to get your code to execute before the screen wraps around on the scan line to the next line. That's how few cycles you have to get the code working. So it takes a tremendous programmer who can write code in assembly language and knows the ins and outs of what makes a VCS tick to pull off something that's almost, I would say, miraculous when you think about what it takes to make a good 2600 game. It is highly commendable. Anyone that can do it and does do it deserves the recognition for being able to achieve the programming feats they can within the confines that limits the Atari console. I mean, even the Atari 5200 can do more because it's basically a fancy Atari 800 that's been dressed up. 7,650 feels like an appropriate score to end on. So I give Robotron or RobotWar 2684 2 thumbs up. Champ Games, you hit it out of the ballpark with this one. Very glad I picked it up complete in box because of the excellent overall presentation, and the game befits that presentation by being a standout on the 2600. Just imagine if this had come back out in the 1980s instead of in the 2020s. What people would have thought of their Atari console playing a home version of Robotron on the 2600. That really says it all. If you put it in the context of the era of this console when it was at its dominance in the video game landscape in North America, in particular the United States, this would have blown people's minds.